As of today, and as it stands, we are only 5 days away from the Ashes of Creation Phase 3. And dog, it freaking feels like we're waiting for the ball to drop. Everyone is sitting around waiting with anticipation. Intrepid released an article a few days ago talking about the economy update, and I'm really glad that they did because this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest change coming to Phase 3. Alright, so it's a pretty short article, but this feels like the, hey, we're ready for Phase 3 send-off sort of. So let's check it out. Economy and stats forged anew. Glorious Alpha 2 economist. We've been hard at work adjusting stats and rebalancing the economy based on your valuable feedback. Your continued support during testing is instrumental in shaping the future of Ashes of Creation. Our current focus is ensuring that testers can always outfit themselves with gear appropriate to their level, crafted with fair and engaging investment of time, effort, and skill. To support this, we're refining gathering, processing, crafting, combat drops, and other reward systems to better align with player progression, enrich the gameplay loop, and make sure your time in Vera feels truly rewarding. That's dope. We know that Ashes of Creation it's a hardcore game. I think if you've played even a bit, you're gonna say it's a hardcore game. Genuinely, if you wanna compete, if you wanna be up there, it's a hardcore game. This genuinely might be a hot take, I don't know, but I think there are more hardcore activities in Ashes than there are casual. That's fine, but I think a lot of the player base were looking for more of those casual ways to grow, right? i.e. questing, i.e. crafting, right? And I think that this is the byproduct of that, truthfully. I mean, we were already gonna get better questing because questing has been abysmal since Phase 1, but they knew that. Crafting, gathering, and recipes. To start, we've rebuilt all crafting and processing recipes from the ground up to better reflect the time it takes to gather and refine materials. Each artisan level now correlates with the gear grade, and within each gear grade, there are different tiers from level 1 and beyond. Starting gear recipes use plentiful, accessible resources, ensuring players can always equip themselves with gear appropriate to their level. At a minimum, there will always be at least one set that will provide a baseline level of power, fire. Dope. As content progresses and gear power increases, we plan to have more recipes that incorporate even rarer materials while still relying on a core of familiar and readily available ingredients. These types of recipes will become available later in our development. Okay, this is great. We know this, right? So we'll check this out. Artisan level gear grade. Right? Artisan level novice, gear grade initiate, artisan level apprentice, gear grade adept, artisan level journeyman, gear grade radiant. Please note the additional tiers are currently unavailable. Master is divine and grandmaster is exalted. Cool. I don't want to be the one to say this, but I'm going to. I think we are still going to have people that are gonna complain about this. I think you're gonna eventually have people who maybe they're super casual and they're like, you know what? I want to be able to get the best gear without having to incorporate the social activity into my life. And I think that this is already a big change for Ashes of Creation, right? Pre-econ drop, getting gear was really tough. Dude, people were charging tons of gold. When I had completed my Rollstorm set, trying to complete that set actually was a bit tough, not gonna lie to you. Because a lot of it I got from trades and drops. I was just grinding. We were doing the streams, we were grinding it out. It wasn't so much crafting, right? And that's no fault of, anybody else besides mine. I chose not to outsource it that way. So I think that if you have a ton of players who aren't gonna outsource their materials, or let me say they're not gonna play the game the way it's intended to be played, I think you might have people trying to push for a change in that regard. And now I don't think it'll come to fruition. I don't think that's something Intrepid is willing to back down on. I think if they back down on something like that, that's gonna change the entire trajectory of the game. It'll get into a real muddy area. So I am really excited to see how this gear system turns out, genuinely. Because again, you're always going to be able to have some type of gear. So this is really all dependent on how far you want to go, right? How many people do you want to talk to? How many people do you want to play with? So I really am excited for this. Once you are ready to craft powerful gear, the required materials will scale accordingly, demanding significant time, effort, and coordination, like we just spoke about. These recipes will call for a broad mix of resources, including rare components, vendor-sold reagents, items dropped by specific mobs, and materials found only in certain regions. I like that. This is kind of fire, I'm not gonna lie. This is really dope. The materials found only in certain regions. So you think the tropics versus the Sand Squall Desert. Now, obviously, we're only in alpha, but imagine once the game really opens up. You need to go across the entire map of Vera to get these certain pieces. And I think that when you see people in the world, it's gonna give off that feeling of, wow, like, yo, this person, my boy was grinding. My boy was putting in the time, 100%. So again, I really am excited to see how Phase 3 is going to turn out. Like I've been saying, I think it's going to be and feel like a very different game, honestly. Things are going to be very, very, very different. So I think that the amount of time, the way we play, all of those things are going to change. To support this new crafting structure, we have also overhauled resource spawn locations, yields, and respawn times. Our goal is to make every biome feel distinct and rewarding for gatherers. Caves now contain more metal and gem nodes, that's lit. Coastal areas feature dead coral, ready to be mined. Higher altitudes support gatherable like acacia and agave. Water-rich regions now encourage the growth of trees like weeping willows, date palms, and even rubidium. No matter where you explore, each location will offer its own unique set of resources to discover and collect. Now that's dope. If you were around when we were testing, you know, what was it, Phase 1, Phase 2, and people were just camping, right? They were camping certain materials, man. Good times. Good time. It's really gonna shake up the world. You even look at certain guilds that were dominating servers. I wonder how their attack is going to be, because now it's gonna be more so like everyone's game plan has to change. If you've been playing solo, this actually kind of benefits you in a way, just in terms of being able to get gear now. It's much easier. Being able to take care of yourself instead of looking for a group, going to Highwayman Hills early on, waiting for things to drop. This entire section right here is gonna be great. Caves with the gem nodes, right? Coastal areas, cool. And then the water-rich regions. This is dope. And I think that what this does, it might not be a huge like hey, we're changing everything, but I think for immersion, it changes things, which I think is really good for the health of the game. Drops, vendors, and quest rewards. Speaking of mobs and vendors, we have made a number of adjustments to mob drops, quest rewards, and commissions to help ensure crafters and adventurers stay in sync. Mob drops have been tuned to be similar to crafting progression. In general, roughly 4 hours of mob grinding should yield comparable gear progression to 4 hours of crafting, depending of course on player knowledge and skill. Dude, okay, I think that if you're anyone that's put in, you know what, let me finish reading this and we'll continue on. Mobs can now drop gear from various tiers within each grade, love that. While most drops will be from the low tier, that's pretty obvious, there's still a chance to score high quality items as well. Vendors will also now offer low gear for all grades along with regents required for advanced crafting. So look, roughly 4 hours of mob grinding should yield comparable gear progression to 4 hours of crafting. Okay, I think that's kind of not even kind of, that's a dub. I think that's dope, because if you're someone who's already hit level 25 in Ashes of Creation, even if it was once, you know 4 hours is nothing to you. 4 hours is nothing, right? Because obviously, if you hit 25, you did it by straight mob grinding. And we know quests are getting updated, but I still believe that there is going to be a high level of mob grinding. So I think that's dope. And it's kind of what I was saying a few moments ago. I think that there are going to be a lot of people that aren't going to want to go out there and outsource where they get their gear from. So they're going to stick to mob grinding. So I think it's cool. Let me just say this. I am very glad that there's still a low chance for higher tier things to drop. I still stand by crafters making the best stuff. I still stand by that. I am with Intrepid on that, 1000%. Having the chance for it to drop a 0.0002% chance, great. If you get it, you're lit. Quest rewards and commissions have received updates too. Many quests will now allow players to choose their reward, which can include materials and gear. Commissions have been rebalanced to better reflect the effort required to complete them, and now feature reward boxes that reveal a surprise reward when opened. Yeah, this is all a W, man. Again, and we already knew this, but this is dope. Being able to complete quests, get materials and gear, and knowing that we're going to be making our own gear, knowing how the gear system is being changed, I think that's super smart. If you don't want the materials, go for the gear, and then reward boxes. So that's cool. And again, dude, if you looked at commissions, remember, bro, we were getting 3 dull glint, 2 dim glint. It's like, dog, what are we doing here? Altogether, these updates represent key steps toward building a more interconnected and rewarding player-driven economy. Whether you're a crafter, adventurer, or somewhere in between, your choices will feel more meaningful than ever. I like that. It's a dub. It's good stuff, man. Yeah, and then that's the entire article. Having this as we prepare, for phase 3, this is lit. And like I said, and as I continue to say, we just have to launch in a good way. Let it feel good for the players. One of the biggest changes, man, to me, 4 hours of mob grinding is gonna feel like 4 hours of crafting. And right, I'm an herbalist, so I've done 4 hours of both. That's great, and if you're someone who does both, like, it's more incentives for the player, right? So I think overall this is great, and I'm excited for phase 3. Let's get into it. As phase 2.5 comes to an end, man, we are gearing up for phase 3, and I'm personally excited, right? I want to see everything that they've been working on come to fruition, and I really want to see how it's going to change things for the better for the player base. What are your thoughts going into phase 3? Let your boy know in the comment section below. You know how it goes. If you want to keep up with your boy, get on in the Discord, follow me on X, and follow me on Twitch. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.